everyone, I'm Cheryl and welcome to the Sewing Room channel, and I've got a cross stitch tip for you. Here is a cross stitch project I did many years ago. I think it's like 30 years old. I'm not really sure. But I want you to look at the border. That's this part right here going all the way around. This border is really simple. They have just a single row of cross stitches all the way around, and then on the outside of it are little hearts. Now this is a very basic border. Let me show you one that's even simpler than this. Now here is a project I've been working on, and this is the picture that came with the kit. I want you to look at this solid line. Okay. This solid line is part of the border to frame what's inside here. But you'll notice that the design overlaps it. But there's one more border on it that encloses all of the design. And that is a solid line of back stitches all the way around. So your border doesn't have to be really elaborate. It can be really simple. So this is very busy. So if you're going to put a border on something that's real busy, select something that's simple and doesn't take away from what's going on in the middle. So here's what mine looks like right now. So I have finished the inner border and I've started on the outer border that is a straight stitch. So you can see just how beautiful the colors are in this. So if I had a really detailed border, it would probably take away from what's going on in the center. Here's one of my cross stitch books, and this has some really basic borders in it that are pretty easy, I think, if you were a beginner. This one here is using three colors in it, and it's just little stitches skipping. So you've done a stitch, you skip a space, do another stitch. Now you'll notice this border only goes around the upper portion of the design, not down here. So it doesn't always have to go all the way around all four sides. It can be just one side or just at the bottom. Here's another one that's got a lot of different border designs in it, so you can combine your borders to make something like this. And this is really simple. I'll be showing you one similar to this. Okay, let's take a look at some other things that you can do a border on. If you've been watching my cross stitch tips for a while, you might remember the bookmark tips that I gave you. So borders are often used on your bookmarks. So you could look through your books and look for simple ones that would fit on a bookmark. If you're just getting started and you're not really sure what to do with a border, here are some suggestions. You could do a straight row of cross stitches like I showed you in one of the first examples. So you could do that all the way around. You could also do 2 rows of straight stitches or 3 rows, all the same color or using different colors. You could also do what I call a dash line, where you do 2, 3, or 4, skip a few spaces, and continue that pattern all the way across. Or you can make it jagged. Do a few up at the top. I believe there's 3 here. Go down and do 3. Come back up and do 3. And just go up and down all the way across. And again, if you wanted to, you could do this one with a solid line on the top and the bottom. That would be a really basic border to do. You'll see a lot of squares in borders. This is just 4 stitches. But you could do 3, you could do 8. It's no matter what you want to do. So you can make them rectangular or square like this one. The other one that is really easy to do is this zigzag patch or line. What I did was I started with 3. I did 1 at the bottom. I moved over to my right and came up and did 1. Moved over again to my right and did 1 more and going up. Now you're going to go down. So you do 2 down, 2 up, 2 down, 2 up. Here's one of my favorite ones right here. It's just this curvy line, just goes back and forth. So on your left, most cross stitch you go from left to right, not in all cases, but most of the time. So you're going to start by doing 3. So you do 1 here, go down 1 and do a stitch, go down 1 more and do a stitch. So you have your 3. Now you're going to go down and over to your right and do 1. Go down and over to your right again and do 3. Then come back up doing 1 and then start again. So think of it as 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3. Just keep that in your head. Now here's another version of that one, and this is what it looks like. It's smaller. So this one is 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Here's another one that's very basic, and often they're referred to as just little flowers, and you see this a lot in different borders. You could do a border of just this. So how this is, you go up at the top and do 1, come down to the left, do 1, go back down, center, and do another one, and come back up. So you've gone in this little circular pattern. And then skip some spaces, whether it's 1 space, 2 space, it's up to you. And repeat that pattern. So if you want to use 2 colors in this, you would do this part first, and then over here, I've put yellow. So first I did all the pink all the way across, then came back, starting here, and put the yellow in the center and went all the way across. Now here is another one I like to use. I think it's really pretty. It looks like ribbon that's twisting. So I've got 2 colors I'm using, a dark purple and a light purple. So there's 5 stitches in each section, 5 going across. So you start with 1 over on your left, come up and do 2. Then go down, straight down below this last one up here on the top line, and do 2. So it's 1, 2, 2, and then end again with 2 more. So it's kind of on a zigzag pattern. So you would do your first color first. So here up here at this line, I did all of the purple, skipped 5 stitches in between, then came back and did the light purple. Here is a little sampler pillow. And I like making these. I think they're really pretty, but it's another way of kind of filing it away. All of these ideas I've told you, you could actually do these on a little piece of Aida cloth, and you can either store it away with all your cross stitch things, or you can make it a little sampler pillow. So up here, this yellow and green, this is 2 different pieces together. The yellow wavy line, and then in the center of each of the little loops, I put 4 stitches in a little square. Here is a heart pattern with the little flowers in between. And there's 2 different colors, so you can use as many colors as you want. Then here's the flowers again, this time with light blue on the outside and dark blue on the inside. Here is that one example I showed you earlier, but it's just a little different than what I showed you earlier. I first did a solid line all the way across. And again, you can use all the same color on all of this, or each line a different color. Then the second line, I skipped in 1 or 2 stitches, whatever you want, then did 3, then went down and did 1 in the center, then moved over and continue that same pattern. Here is the zigzag, and I first did yellow, then I selected another color and went right underneath it, repeated the same pattern. And then here is that zigzag line, or not zigzag, kind of wavy a little bit, and I used 2 colors. I did the dark green, moved down, and used the light green. And then here is that little ribbon look using the dark purple and light purple. Now, this is a great starter project for those of you who are just learning. You can make a sampler pillow. You can make it just little. Don't get in so deep that you get overwhelmed. Make something small. And I've got fabric on the back and polyfill stuffing on the inside. And if you want to know how to make different pillows, let me show you examples of a few other ones you could do for cross stitch. This one has a little piece of border fabric on it, and this probably looks familiar, the little flowers. So it was a border at the top and the bottom. And let me show you one more. So you could make this same style of pillow with fabric out here on the edge. And on this one, look at the border. It's tulips at the top and the bottom. And also remember, you don't have to make a square pillow. You can make a rectangular shape too. I recommend for those of you who are new to cross stitch to make little notes. For instance, over here, I didn't feel like making a sampler, so I just sort of sketched it out and left myself little notes on what it is. Or I really advise you is to do a few, especially if you're a beginner, and put those samplers in a little page like this. These are those little plastic covers, and you can put items in it. So if you don't feel like making a little sampler pillow, I recommend that you do this. Now, I recommend you put a little notebook together. You can call it cross stitch notes or just cross stitch, whatever you want to do. Now, on the inside, I have a chart here that was in one of my earlier cross stitch tips. And I talk about the needles that are the size of the needles that goes with a particular type of Aida cloth that you are using. So you could put your little needle chart in there. Also, these are things that I've made before and I still have the pattern. So if you have patterns that you like, you can also store them in this book. Well, I hope you enjoyed these cross-stitch tips on making borders. If you're interested in other cross-stitch videos that I have put out, there's going to be a list below your YouTube screen. I have quite a few of them. So you just scroll down to the description section, click on Show More or the down arrow, and you will see those links appearing. Also, if you're interested in learning how to sew, I'll have a few beginners sewing projects for you because I love to combine my cross stitch into some of my sewing projects. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram and check out my Facebook page. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and happy sewing. If you like the Sewing Room channel, one of the best ways to show your support is to subscribe by clicking on that red subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to click on share to share this video with your friends. And make sure you click on the bell so you receive notifications for all my new videos. I'm Cheryl. This is Manny, and this is Scotty. See you next time.